Whether you've been here for a while, you're brand new to the country, selling old stuff, or just trying to furnish your new apartment on the cheap, the used buy and sell market has been a staple institution since Craigslist really picked up steam back in the 2000s. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the most popular buy and sell apps in the Republic of Korea, Karrot. You're watching Sekkider, and this is how to use Karrot Market. Now before we continue, we'd just like to remind you that this channel is meant for general education purposes only and isn't meant to replace the legal or financial advice from a paid professional. No mention of any stock on this site should be taken as financial advice since we can't know what kind of security best suits you and your needs and your goals. In the case of this video, this isn't a paid ad, nor are we assuming that everyone would find a use for it. We're just trying to do our part to let you know what options are open to you while you're over here. For that reason, we'd love it if you could do us a favor, like and subscribe, and share our videos around so we can build resources as a community together. Now for everyone who's been with us for a time, we really appreciate your viewership. Been saying it every episode recently because I honestly feel like we don't say it enough. Now let's get to it. Alright, now as foreigners, the resources we tend to see most commonly are the Facebook buy and sell groups that are often categorized by city or region. These groups tend to be populated by mostly other foreigners, which is great since it means you can communicate in English, but it provides a very limited market of buyers and sellers. Also, a lot of the times, sellers are really just trying to liquidate all of their belongings before they go back home, and usually it's things that they can't carry, and oftentimes things that you don't necessarily need. If you're in that situation, or you're a buyer and you're looking for somebody in that situation, those are really good for that, but if you're just looking for regular stuff, it's pretty limited. But this can be remedied through the use of Karrot, and if you need it, a little bit of Papago. Now to get started, you just need to go to the app store of your choice and search for either Karrot Market or Tangan Market, hit the install and load up the screen, which will ask you to let the app use you for your location information. If you're not comfortable with this, then this might not be the app for you since the results you see are directly related to where you physically are. And as you can see, I'm in Yosu for a little bit of R&R, so the neighborhoods nearest me are the ones that come up. Once I choose, the app will ask me to sign up using the phone verification method. If you're one of those people who has two phones, like a cheap snowman sim for business or otherwise, then maybe use that. But I'm not about to put my personal information on this video, so I'm gonna close this for a quick second. Alright, now once you're in, you'll be greeted by this big list of items that are on sale. These will be correlated with your location, which I already set before I started recording this, but this is how you change that. Click in the drop down menu in the top left corner and hit neighborhood settings. I'm gonna cancel this so you can see that there's now a plus sign which you can use to find neighborhoods in your immediate area. Now you may notice that my menu is changed to Gwangju, and that's because I'm very good at traveling in space-time. Now I've selected Munung Idong. The results of my list will represent what's in this area plus Munung Iltong, which was already selected at the time. Now that's everything, and everything is usually too much, so to simplify, we hit the search menu and search by category. I chose to search by 생활 가전, which means home appliances. I'll translate some categories to help you figure it out easier, but now that you've narrowed the search down, it's a lot easier to kind of see what you'll be getting. Now as you can see, there are a wide variety of items and a variety of brands of those items. You got space heaters, fans, humidifiers, air fryers, TVs, and rice cookers. And it all represents what I mentioned before about generating a larger market for buyers and sellers. Now I'm going to go ahead and initiate a deal because that's what we're here to see anyways. Personally, I've always wanted to try out that circular overpowered heating lamp known as the Jaigol, but I never wanted to spend the retail price of 180,000 won, I believe it is. So, just scrolling through this app, I've noticed that there are a bunch on sale, and I'm just looking for a price that I like. It's probably more helpful just to search it up for myself, and once I do that, you can see that there's a bunch of stuff that I've already searched for in the past. Quick tip. It's a lot easier to find what you're looking for if you type it in Korean, and Papago can really help you with that if you really need it. Sometimes I'll search for 영어 or 영어 check just to see if there's any books. You can search one room because sometimes they'll actually list one rooms in your area. Apartments get listed. You get to see a lot of ads on here. It really tells you what's going on in your location. Also, tent. I mean, you know what a tent is. I don't know why I'm narrating this. Alright, so I'm gonna search for Jaigol, because that's what I want, and there's one for 20. You get the full set. If I want to actually negotiate a price, I need to first verify my area. Alright, now that that's done, all I have to do is send a message to the seller and set up a meetup. There's a button up there that says set meetup, which you could actually use to log it, but I mean, you could always like set it up with the person by text like you would do with Craigslist back home or Depop or whatever. Actually, I'll talk about mailing stuff later, but all right. I mean, that's really it. That's pretty simple. Now, I'm just scrolling through pictures of the actual item, but one thing that you can do is look at other stuff that the seller is doing. See, the seller actually responded really quick. A lot of the times things will sell quick if the price is nice enough, and if the item is in demand as well. But I'm gonna click on the seller's name, and then I'm going to hit 67 items. It'll tell me all of the other stuff that they're selling. Again, I'll talk about this later, but this is a pretty good option for seeing if they have anything else that they're selling that you would want to buy. You could do it all in one trip. Otherwise, I mean, you don't really need to do that. Now, I'm not gonna show you the rest of the conversation because you don't really need to see it. We met up, I bought the jaigal, and this is what it looks like when it's cooking fish. Now, again, I'm not being paid to advertise whatever company sells the jaigal, but I will say that I'm happy that I got it for 20 bucks instead of the $180 retail. It's good, but it's kind of bulky. I don't know. If you have 20 bucks to spare, I'm sure they're selling one in your area for similar prices. Now, if you want to sell your items, it's actually pretty simple. All you have to do is click on the plus sign in the bottom right hand corner, and then click on for sale. Advertising is obviously for advertising. Here you'll see what you would expect to see, including a place for pictures, which I'm using right now, a pricing area, which allows you to choose whether or not you want it to be negotiable, an area for the item description, which is at the bottom, and you may want to do that in Korean because realistically your market is mostly for Koreans, and another space for you to title your post. Now let's pretend I want to sell my hand vacuum. I just post a pic, describe it, choose a category, and eventually figure out how to spell the word vacuum. I know you probably don't want to have to watch this, but it is a struggle spelling vacuum when I haven't spelled it in a long time. Is it 2 C's? Is there an E at the end? Is it 1 C with no E? I mean, it is 1 C with no E. Anyways, I would have to choose after. I'd have to choose a category. This would probably also be 생활 가전, and then I would input my price. If I actually did want to sell this, I would hit done in the top right hand corner, and I would wait. But I don't actually want to sell this. It's actually pretty good. So, yeah. Now, before we end the video, I do want to talk about a few things that I've picked up on from my personal experience using this app for a few years. For one, it's not rare that people will not have cash on them when they come to meet up, and instead they'll ask for a 계좌이체 or bank transfer or 계좌번호 for your account number. This does two things. For one, it saves them from having to go to the bank, and another thing it does is it creates a paper trail in case you get ripped off or they get ripped off. Now, I saw a post last month about a guy who paid some next man 40만 won for an e-scooter only to realize later that he bought one of those rental bikes, like, you know, the rental 싱싱이s. Whatever, by the time he realized that the other guy had ripped him off, basically, he deleted his account and disconnected his phone number, so the guy had no way of contacting him. Now, of course, I recognize that letting someone else see your name over a bank transfer isn't ideal, so you could always make sure it's pure cash, different strokes for different folks, but some people may back out of the deal in that case. I haven't had it happen to myself, but, you know, it's a possibility. Alright, a very last thing, I asked a few friends if they had any tips from using the app because I do have friends who use it very often, and I think these are the best ones. 1. If they ask you to transfer and promise to mail you the item, don't do it. This one seems pretty obvious, but I knew some kid who was a university student who paid a guy like 100,000 won for AirPods, and the guy said that he would send them in the mail, and he never did. What are you gonna do? Alright, 2. Avoid anyone who asks you to send money before you receive the item. It's the same concept, right? They could just ghost you, and unless you're willing to find some legal support over 20 bucks, then there's often little you can do about it. Number 3. Check the seller's profile before you buy. Most people will have a history or at least be selling multiple items. If you see an account selling a single item at a ridiculously low price and they have no buy or sell history, then they might be on a scam artisting. You can access that through the same menu that I used before when I was looking at the jaigal. And finally, you have number 4. You have basic safety precautions, meet somebody in public in a well-lit area at an appropriate time, and if possible, bring a friend. This is some common sense advice for when meeting strangers for the first time for any reason at all, but you never really know. Alright, that's it. There are a few things like the manner meter and alert setting for yourself that you may want to figure out, But that stuff is pretty intuitive, and I encourage you to play around with the features for yourself once you've downloaded the app, if you've decided that you do want to download the app. Tangan is really useful for anyone looking to buy and sell, or somebody who buys new furniture or rearranges their place pretty often. And if you're slick with it, maybe you could do a little bit of arbitrage buying and selling across platforms with Tangan and whatever buy and sell groups you're in on Facebook. It's up to you, the world is yours. Alright, that's it for me. Thanks for sticking with us, and we'll be back soon with another video about investing for those who are new to the game. Thanks for watching. Please share this video. Peace.